Now, it's time for the Anchormen podcast with Matt Gates and Dan Ball.
Welcome back into the Anchormen podcast. I'm Dan Ball alongside Riley Lewis. We're just a couple of the Anchormen here at One America News, and we have this great new platform doing podcasts every week now, and things have been going so well that we decided to branch off and do 2 episodes a week. Eventually, I think they're just going to talk us into doing an episode every damn day on top of our talk shows, but that's okay. So Matt's doing a show, I'm doing the show, Riley's doing the show, and then we're just going to get more dudes, more men on these podcasts and talk about pop culture and politics and entertainment and just life in general. So welcome into, I don't know, episode 10, 11, somewhere in there. Riley, before we break the guest on and talk about whatever we're going to talk about this week, how was your week? How's it going, brother?
Oh, it's been a good one. No shortage of things to talk about. So it's, it's been a little bit...
Personally, forget work and news and politics.
Sure. Yeah.
How you doing? Because, you know, the audience met you a few episodes ago with Matt and I. We learned that you know a hell of a lot more about music than some of us old guys who think we know a lot of stuff. And you play. So I'm going to have you later in the show play this wonderful guitar, which, by the way, we'll give you info on the podcast how you can pick one up. My buddy's selling these out of Nashville. Very cool We the People guitars. But so what do you do? Like, besides what we do?
Yeah.
Right? Besides being a anchor man or a talk show host, what are you doing throughout the week? Like, we don't hang enough. Are you playing guitar? Are you serenading ladies? You meet anybody?
Working on the second part, the ladies part, but playing a lot of guitar every single day and starting to write music more and more, actually, which is very fun.
Right on.
Yeah.
You do?
Trying to make more original content. So it's been fun, but aside from that, I mean, baseball's finally here. So baseball season's back, and I am going to go to plenty of Padres games. I can assure you that. So
opening day was yesterday on Thursday, right? Yeah, opening day on Thursday, right? That was cool.
Or yesterday, yeah.
What else? Let's see. So you're watching baseball. You're trying to pick up girls.
That's right.
You're playing more music.
I got to take the music to the beach. Now that it's getting warm, that's the key.
You know what you need?
That's the key.
And I could help you out with this. You need a dog. You have a dog?
No.
You don't have a dog. So you know I just got 2, right? I'll make sure we put some pics up. And we got to show off Brew and Bear, which is short for Bruin and Baron. The Baron, short for Baron Trump. I just call him Bear. He's an English chocolate lab, big, stocky, tough boy, very smart, like young Baron. And the other one, Bruin, not spelled like you think, not Boston Bruins, but B-R-U-E-N.
Really?
Do you know where I got that from?
No idea.
New York versus Bruin.
What?
Really? Remember that case? Second Amendment, huge case. Everybody knows it, right? Yeah. I was sitting there thinking of names that go together because you're going to yell their names all the time. And I thought I was naming one Barron and Trump. That way, if I'm out at a park, especially here in California, and just to annoy people, I would yell, "Come here, boys, Barron, Trump, come here, Barron, Trump." And my wife's like, "You're not doing that.
Yeah.
You are not. Why do you want to cause conflict?" I'm like, how's that causing conflict? I like those names, and they're my damn dog.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
But now that they're here, though, and they're with you, how's that been? Because for a long time, it's just a build up to it, but now how's that going?
So the trip was interesting. We're going to get back to you and a dog and ladies.
Yes.
Because that's where I was going with this, not me and the dogs.
No, but I do want to know.
I flew to Sacktown, Sacramento. It was an 8.5-hour drive back with them in the back seat of the SUV. And they've been at the house, now the ranch, for about a week and a half.
Okay.
They are adjusting. We're adjusting to 2 large dogs. It's been a while since I had a large dog since I was a kid. They're awesome.
And these are what, they're like 90 pounds or 80 pounds?
They're about 80, 85 pounds.
That's a big dog.
Yeah, I got them from a breeder who's been doing it for a couple decades.
I don't think people who have small dogs understand what it's like to have a giant dog like that, like boxers, laps, whatever it is.
It's different.
It's different.
They're both.
It's a lifestyle.
It is. They're both from the same litter. They're both boys. They are English chocolate labs, and their paperwork goes way back. Like, their dad was 105 pounds.
No kidding.
Big boy.
Okay.
So, anywho, what I was trying to say. Yeah, he wants to avoid this lady talk. That's the problem.
No.
So what I'm saying is, you're going to take this We the People guitar, okay? We're going to send you down to PB, Pacific Beach, for you folks that don't live in the San Diego area or California. PB is where the young folks hang out, and Riley's a lot younger than me. And we're going to hook you up with probably Bear. Bear is more mild-mannered than Bruin. Bruin's a hyper nut job, although that could come in handy because he loves to lick and hump and everything else. So depending on what the girls, Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to loan you one of the dogs, and the guitar.
Are you going to charge me or is it free?
No, I said loan. I'm just going to loan it to you.
Okay, all right.
And you're going to go to PB, and then in the next podcast or so, I'd like you to report back on how you're doing.
Okay, deal.
But you should, you know what? You should go, let's test this theory, shall we, folks? Because we all know that douchebag that shows up to a party when we were younger with the guitar and tries to woo all the ladies away from the guys who are trying to pick up the ladies. I want you to go without the dog and only the guitar and see how well that works. And then I want you to go again on a different time with the guitar and the dog.
Oh, okay.
And see what happens.
Okay.
Because then you're not the douchey guy on the guitar trying to woo him over to the shade of the tree like, hello, ladies, come listen to my serenade. You're just a dude out walking his dog who's got his guitar on his back, and just watch. Okay. I just want to see what happens. What do you think will happen? You think you'll get more phone numbers with just the guitar or guitars and the dog?
And the dog. Absolutely. No question in my mind. We're still going to do this to see how it works, but I'd wager more with the dog. Absolutely.
I almost want to have a hidden camera.
With your dogs, they're very cute.
I almost want to have a hidden camera and film you at the beach. You
wear a body cam like a cop?
Let's call our buddy O'Keefe. Let's call James O'Keefe and say, we need some of your American swipers with their cameras on the beach in strategic locations. And I want you to follow Riley, and we're going to see which ladies come up and have more interaction with him over the guitar versus the dog. Speaking of cameras, I guess we should get to some headlines here, what we're supposed to be talking about. And then get to our guest. He's probably sitting over there waiting in the internet sphere going, can I talk? Speaking of cameras.
This is serious.
Did you see what? Well, I don't know if it's serious. It's serious for the folks that work at the places I'm about to bring up. But as we know, Team Doge, Elon Musk, is making amazing cuts within our federal government. Try and save you, me, Riley, all of us money, even though the mainstream media is acting like it's a bad thing. Elon's trying to steal from us and all this bullshit.
The irony. Yeah, they've been stealing from us for years, right? But
so, and we'll get to Elon, what's happening with the crazies attacking his Tesla company and physical Teslas. But it was just announced this week, and there's been some lawmakers that are pretty adamant about doing this. MTG is saying, Birch is saying, Boebert's saying. Trump is suggesting possibly, and for me in my age bracket, I sit back and I go, wow. I watched those networks when I was young. PBS, Public Broadcasting Service Television, NPR, National Public Radio. These are two entities that get tons of money from the federal government. They're supposed to be independent, non-biased TV and radio programming.
Yes.
You just put out the facts and shut your damn mouth. I don't know about you on your show this week, but I ran a compilation that our friends at MRC put together. You know what I'm talking about? And it shows going back to the early 90s through last week, some of the idiots on NPR and PBS spousing and spewing and their radical leftist crap. As a kid, again, I'm watching Bob Ross, Paint Happy Trees.
That's right.
I'm watching Oscar the Grouch come out of his can on Sesame Street. And I'm watching Awesome Mr. Rogers telling us way back in the 60s and 70s, there's only boys and girls.
That's right.
That's a real clip. And I'm going, wait, you don't want to get rid of PBS and NPR, Mr. President. But then when you see what they've been saying and how much money they get, your thoughts on the possible defunding of PBS and NPR, brother?
I mean, first of all, I don't love the idea of government-funded media, period. It should be independent. And there's a lot of privately owned media organizations in this country that are picking up the slack for them and not telling the truth at all and being objective. So, number one, I don't love that. But number two, like you said, they used to be wholesome and educational. They made this country better. They were really teaching kids good values.
Thank you.
They were helping us to raise good citizens.
Used to.
Yes, used to. I don't know when the metamorphosis started. 90s, it sounds like, but it's just been downhill. And at this point, I think we cut our losses and just abolish them both, defund them. I don't see how they fit into society anymore, other than to carry water for Democrats.
There you go.
Left. That's what they do.
I think that's exactly what happened when these grants got bigger and bigger in the 80s, 90s, and kept going.
Yes.
The leftists in D.C. saw this was a way to import our people onto broadcast waves that we pay for. And I say we, I mean the American taxpayer, not those asshole Democrats in Washington, D.C. Us are paying for propaganda to go against over half the country. Because I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. This country is a center-right country. Get over it, liberals, Democrats. It is. And the Dems saw, hey, we're funding these millions and millions of dollars to PBS and NPR. Let's make sure the people that we're paying with the taxpayers' dollars are of like mind. Because these hosts, I have never, ever, that I can recall, and I don't mean the show host like Mr. Rogers, I mean the news hour hosts on NPR and PBS. Can you name one that ever sounded conservative or skewed stuff to the right?
Never. Not
No.
once. And I listened to NPR for years and years, by the way. I grew up listening to them.
You did?
Yes, absolutely.
You had liberal parents, or they just didn't know?
No, I just wanted to know what the other side had to say. I wanted to know what these trusted, they always say these are the experts in media.
Right.
And so I wanted to know, but I've seen that slide, though, especially during the first Trump administration. They went off a cliff in 2017. It was like TDS every single day. And look, that's sad to me. By the way, I wish that they would get back to the stuff they were doing beforehand, because they were educational and they were really helpful to people, and they put out content that anyone could access. That's a really valuable thing. But now it's just, like you said, it's yet another way for the left to advance their agenda and to cram it down on people's throats without their consent. And in this case, maybe without their knowledge. Maybe you don't know that your tax dollars are going to that. But it's disgusting. It's a betrayal, really, of the mission.
Good
of the
point.
original mission.
Speaking of cramming things down people's throats, our next guest, oh no, just kidding. Was that a good segue? I see I got a big ass smile on his face in our preview monitor. That's how I like to intro guests on this podcast. So joining us for episode 10 of The Anchormen, put him on screen right now. Get that big smile. This is my buddy. This is New York former Congressman George Santos. And George and I will tell a story, I'm sure, in the next hour at some point about how he and I didn't like each other before, but now we're buds.
Really?
And so that was just a little joke. And I didn't mean, George, anything to do with you being gay. I meant because you, like me, shock people. You say what's on your mind. And if they don't like it, tough. And so that's why I was saying, here, ram it down their throats. Anyway, George.
It's totally fine, Dan. You're not the first person to try to put shit in my mouth. It's cool.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Anyway, and by the way, I forgot, as I said, former New York congressman, also the host, since we're on a podcast. He's got a new podcast. He launched about the same week we launched Anchormen here at One America News. He launched one called Pants on Fire. You know, kind of like when you were a kid running around, liar, liar, pants on fire. And George, before we get to the PBS, NPR stuff and the other stuff that we wanted to talk to you about, let's just get this crap out of the way. So the reason, Riley, George and I, when we met a few years ago, didn't see eye to eye.
I mean, was there real beef or not really?
No, it wasn't real beef.
Okay.
It was George, as we all know, got in trouble in Congress. George then got kicked out of Congress. I didn't approve of some of the things George did that got him in trouble, but then I also really disapproved of the way Republicans treated him, knowing, like all Americans now, thanks to Trump, that about 90% of those a-holes in the swamp do 10 times worse crap and don't get kicked out, but then we're quick, and I mean on our side, the conservative side, we're so quick to judge George and kick his ass out. And so I reached out, and he said, you know, I heard you don't like me, you don't have me on your show, blah, 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 you hate me. And I go, no, I don't like that you fibbed, but since what you fibbed about compared to what these a-holes have been doing for decades with my money, let's talk. And we had a conversation, and since then, what do you think, George? We've been all right?
Look, I adore Dan Ball, and it's funny because we didn't meet eye to eye. That's fine, and I agree with him. Like, look, I'm the first one to talk and say like, I fucked up, right? But the reality is Dan was not kind to me, and then now I genuinely. Dan calls me, George, can you jump on the plane? Yes, can you? Yes, absolutely, Dan Ball. You tell me, you know. Like, I never say no to this dude because of Peyton, though. It's not him. It's really Peyton. Like, I can't get, I feel like if I say no to him, it's saying no to Peyton, and it breaks my heart.
Nobody says no to the wife. You know. You come into the office every day and chat. We have a conversation. I think you chat more with my wife than you do me. No. Everybody likes my wife better. I mean, 6 interviews in the last 4 years of President Trump. Guess what? Every time I talk to him, we'll do the interview. Is your beautiful wife coming with you? Yes, Mr. President, she'll be there. Yes. Like, everybody likes the wife better than me. Great. Thanks, George. But no, you bring up a good point. Here's the deal. If I like you, I like you. If I don't like you, I tell you. That's the difference between, I think, beta and alpha males these days, and also in generational gaps too. Yes. Like my generation, you got a problem with somebody, whether it's in your family, a coworker, you come to their face and you're like, I have a problem with you. I don't want, whatever it may be, I don't want to do this anymore. Have the cojones to come up to me, be a man, and say it. And so that's
Well,
what
translation for those at home who don't know what cojones means, but essentially the testicular fortitude, guys. You get it?
Yes.
Testicular.
Yes. Intestinal fortitude, I approve of and appreciate. And George, let's be real. Americans appreciate an honest and sincere apology.
Yes.
And Americans will forgive when you do it honestly. And George apologized. He owned up to his BS. And I think the New Yorkers and a lot of Americans have forgiven George because he did. Where other politicians go, I didn't do anything wrong, they're lying about me. While we're like Senator Menendez, where we're going, you had gold bars and money in your suits in the floorboards.
It's not what you think. The brand new Mercedes for the wife. Not what you think. It just no quid pro quos going on.
Right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Anyway, let's ask George our
Very
first
normal
topic,
thing going on there. Yeah.
because we got way off on topic there with Georgie.
Right.
Did you grow up on PBS and NPR? And what do you think about the possibility of...
Well, so was Sesame Street on PBS? I just want to clarify that because I
Yes,
don't
it's been on
remember.
since I was a kid.
So yes, I did grow up on PBS because I watch Sesame Street, Big Elmo, Big Bird, Ernie, for like, come on, like I love all these guys, right? So yes, Sesame Street is probably the only good product out of PBS, and I think Author. If I'm not
Rogers.
mistaken.
Yeah, yes.
Bob Ross painting.
Which, by the way, Mr. Rogers would get canceled today. I mean, saying things like only boys will be the daddies, only girls.
Yes.
Bob Ross.
He would get canceled today.
He would.
Bob Ross is being canceled because he had an afro. So trust me, like people.
Oh my gosh, cultural appropriations.
Yeah, totally. No, that is actually on social media. Some groups are saying, why did Bob Ross feel it was okay to have an afro? So let's get to the point here. PBS and watching the hearing and having watched from Congressman Tim Burchett to I forgot my friend from Texas, his name right now, I blanked. New congressman from Texas, it'll come to me. He nailed it when he was reading posts of the CEO of Mayor's own posts from 2020. And she's literally, she is
Brandon
lying.
Gill.
Yeah.
Brandon Gill, there you go. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Congressman Gill, my bad.
Speaking of husband and wife, that's Daniel D'Souza's husband, because
Son-in-law.
everybody knows. Yeah, it's Dinesh's kid. Well, Dinesh's son-in-law.
Son-in-law, yeah. Yep. So long story short, this woman will essentially lie, steal, and cheat and claw her way, dog pony face lie to the American people to keep her job. Do not take this. I don't understand why there's still a hearing. Just fire the woman. Just get rid of her. There is no justification. No, I have evolved from my statements. Look, I believe in people changing their minds. I don't believe in people saying that Trump is, quote, a deranged racist who benefits from white supremacy. I'm sorry, you can't change that opinion.
Right, that's a big...
impossible.
George, there's a big gap from J.D. Vance admitting from 2016 until now, I was against Trump.
That's right.
Now I'm with, here's why. I was lied to about the... But he never came out and goes, he's a racist piece of da-da-da and deserves death. Yada, yada. These lefties are out there in the streets calling for his death.
Well, Vance also owned up
Big
to
difference.
it. He owned up to it. This is happening retroactively. She's saying, oh, she's saying she changed now when she's in the hot seat.
Because the money's on the line, Riley.
Exactly. Which, by the way, the board could have picked anybody. Why did they pick her? I will never understand that. But I do want to make that point clear. George, what do you think of the gaslighting? I mean, I don't think it's going to work, but what do you think?
I mean, look, we're living in such a world. Don't let any gas go to waste, so bottle it. Since we really can't go, we can't extract from the Marcellus Shell in Western New York here. So anytime I see gas, I say, please bottle it all because we need it, because New York is in disarray. But she's disingenuous. She's full of crap.
Completely.
Yeah.
Watching that hearing and watching Brandon Gill and Tim Burchett literally drill into her, and she sits there completely oblivious to the fact that the things that they're reading that she said, either she said she doesn't recall, she doesn't remember sitting and spending an entire day and reading a whole book. Dude, if I took an entire day to read a book, I would remember.
Yeah, BS. Uh-oh, he's running out of time. We better make sure he doesn't run out of time and get him logged back in. Okay. So let me transition to talking about bottling gas and bottles of stuff and television, because this is something that has upset me for years, being in the TV industry for 30 some years.
Yeah.
And guys, let's get that fixed real quick if we can. And that is the fact that Big Pharma, has owned, I mean, literally owned the airwaves. And I may repeat this in a sec when we get George back on, but I'll throw this to you first, Riley. And that is the fact that Big Pharma is in like every other freaking television ad. I don't know if it's on PBS because I haven't watched PBS in ages, and I don't know what the rules are with the government as far as allowing what commercials to buy on NPR or PBS. But I know in the private TV world that we're in, right, private sector, you can't go one commercial break, and I know all you folks are going to agree with me here, no matter what your age is. You can't go one commercial break on any of the big three ABC, NBC, CBS morning shows. Good Morning America, CBS Morning News, or the Today Show. Every freaking other break. Usually it's 2-minute commercial breaks. You have 30-second ads. So do the math. You have 4 commercials. At least one of them, every commercial, is a freaking Big Pharma.
Yeah.
Like, do you have restless leg syndrome? Take this drug. By the way, the side effects are your asshole might fall out. You might want to kill yourself. You might kill your family, but that leg will stop moving. Like, here's 27 side effects, but take our restless leg syndrome pill. They own the TV networks, and it's disgusting. And it was apparent, Riley, and you know this, it was apparent during the COVID pandemic because none of those folks at mainstream media would tell the truth about the vaccines and the side effects except us right here at OAN because we don't take their damn money.
That's right. And those who did tell the truth got punished for it, by the way, which is just really diabolical in my opinion. But here's what I didn't understand until RFK started talking about this issue a few years ago, which, by the way, I'm so happy that he's doing this. I mean, this is long overdue, everything he's doing. But when you're a kid and you're just growing up, you're thinking that's normal because you just see that in America. Those are giant shows. Those are giant news broadcasts. Then you get older and you realize, wait a minute, we're one of like only 2 countries on the entire planet that allows this to go on. This is a charade. And basically everybody else in the whole planet has said no more of this. There's a clear conflict of interest.
Right. Who is it? So, is it us in England?
And Australia, maybe. I don't know.
So that's a very good point. Think about what Riley's saying. Every country on the planet almost does not allow Big Pharma to do major television ads on all major television networks. That's it. They have to do like print or internet ads, right?
That's right. Yes.
Or mail out ads, but not television.
It's extremely regulated.
Because you're being programmed. If it's every other freaking commercial break and millions of Americans watch them every single day, you're going to get programmed that you think then you need that drug.
Correct.
That's exactly because advertising is like a drug. How do you get your child? How do you get your dog to pay attention and do something? What do they always say? It's a routine. It's a routine.
That's right.
If you brainwash the American public every damn day so that every 10 minutes in that commercial break on Good Morning America, you hear the words, "This portion of Good Morning America sponsored by Pfizer," then you're going to have Pfizer on the brain.
Yeah.
When you get an ailment, an ache, or whatever, you're going to think, oh, crap, I need that Pfizer. I need that drug. I need that pill. That's what they're doing to us.
Absolutely. And during the scamdemic, what was really insane was we learned a lesson that you can propagandize people into doing crazy things, like wearing 3 masks alone in a car. Crazy things. So it's very clear to me what's going on. Big Pharma bankrolls these stations. They push out the propaganda in return, in exchange, right? And the American people, a lot of them are just duped. They fall for it, and it's very sad because they don't know any better, and they don't see the insidious agenda behind it. But that's the problem. There's an agenda behind every single narrative they're pushing, and now we're finally getting over the target, and they're very nervous about it. And that should say everything, by the way. The fact that they're nervous, that should be a giant red flag to everybody.
Can I say something? Bobby, we love you for what you're doing. Please stay safe. I'm positive that POTUS has extra security detail for you.
Yes.
Because I'd like you to think about something. You're a Kennedy, and you're taking on Big Pharma. We better have people all over Bobby Kennedy's back because
dangerous game.
People end up dead. People end up suicided. Okay?
Right.
And what he's digging into, I mean, it's just as dangerous as what Elon's doing.
Oh, absolutely.
With all the budget cuts. I mean, he's slashing into the deep state. He's slashing into the military-industrial complex. And now Bobby is slashing into Big Pharma. All these combined, not B, I'm going to say with a T, if you look at what we've spent just in the last few years on military intelligence and that spending, and then the relationship of what Big Pharma spends lobbying in D.C. with our politicians, I would bet it teeters on trillions, not billions.
Yeah.
You start messing with somebody's T's, and people end up dead.
Yes, it's all about the money at the end of the day. It's not about keeping Americans safe. It's not about health, and that's why they're so opposed to everything with the Maha movement. It's all about the cash cow for them. They are profiting off of making people sick. It is disgusting, and it needs to stop. And I don't know what kind of resistance Bobby's going to face in the future, but they're already going after him tooth and nail.
Oh,
They attack his character. They attack his family. They say horrible things. They call him an anti-vaxxer. He just cares about vaccine safety. He's not an anti-vaxxer. It's disgusting, but they smear him up and down the block, and they just don't care.
He's been talking about this for over 2 decades.
Oh, absolutely.
This has been a mission of his, that he wants to clean this stuff up.
Absolutely.
And he's talking about the water, the food, the vaccines, everything. If you go out there and look, and this is always what cracked me up, is grabbing the ketchup bottle from Canada and the ketchup Heinz 57 bottle in America, flipping them over and reading the ingredients and going, holy what? Why do I have 12 ingredients and they have 4? Right? Or 5, like salt, pepper, oil, tomatoes. We have 12.
Yeah.
Benzoyl, red dye number this, 4767. Like, what the?
Well, that's how it used to be here, too, right? My understanding is that back in the day, not even that long ago in America, everything was clean and simple and straightforward, and now it's all been infected with lots of different chemicals.
Because the FDA and our lawmakers have been infected with lobbyists who told them to look the other way and then gave them some bullshit study that says, look, this small amount of this freaking sodium whatever or this nitrate that or whatever, it barely causes cancer or it will barely kill you. And it's so low it doesn't matter. Kind of like the fluoride in the water and everything else Bobby's trying to get rid of. And I see we got George back, so now we can ask him to weigh in on this. George, we've been talking about Bobby Kennedy's hard work over at HHS to clean up food, water, air, vaccines, but we transitioned in from PBS and NPR to the television aspect, that one of Bobby's big pushes this week is that he wants to get big pharma off of the national airwaves. And Riley brought up a good point. It's only legal in like 2 or 3 countries on the planet to even allow big pharma to advertise. I think their asses should be banned. What's George Santos think?
I mean, look, I hate big pharma, and I've been a big anti-big pharma guy. Never sat with pharmaceutical lobbyists. I actually lambasted him on the House floor. You were just talking about nutrition facts comparisons. I did the famous special order on the floor where I took the yogurt from Nestle in the U.S. and in Europe, and what is the one ingredient you guys would think is missing in strawberry yogurt in the U.S.?
Probably no strawberries.
Yep, strawberries.
There's no strawberries. There's purees, things to imitate strawberries, but no strawberries.
That's what we do.
Yogurts in Europe have 5 freaking ingredients, and over here it's like I can't even pronounce half of them. So there's and yogurt is pushed as a health food. So to that ketchup comparison of yours, right, Dan? On the RFK push to ban pharmaceutical commercials, I'm going to say this will impact roughly 45% of cable news television revenues in the United States.
Then MSNBC will finally go under.
So that means 45% of the revenue from cable news television is big pharma. Just FYI.
Hold on, George. Except at OAN. Except at this network.
I did not say OAN was included. I am just saying the majority of mainstream media in cable news today rely on 45% of their revenue to be pharmaceutical. I mean,
now you know why they wouldn't trash talk the COVID vaccine. That's why they wouldn't trash talk it anywhere. Not even local affiliates.
And it gets better. It gets better. You should watch them squirm saying that this is silly. No one ever bought a drug after watching a commercial or a jingle. Actually, I did. I totally did.
Wait a minute. So then these guys are literally. Hold on, I'm rebooting. I'm falling out of the matrix. I'm rebooting here. Then why advertise? I thought that repetition caused purchases. That's why you buy advertising. And the more ads you buy, the more product you sell. Isn't that advertising marketing 101?
You got to let us keep marketing because it's ineffective. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of marketing and advertising, let's go to Tesla and what the hell has been happening with our friend Elon's company, thanks to radical, wacko leftists.
Yes.
This week, finally, they busted one of the worst perpetrators, and let's call them what they are, domestic terrorists. And I'm not being some
100%.
beta wussy. No. Okay, I can handle whatever. But this is a concerted effort of Democrats calling for it, from their podiums in D.C.,
Yes.
pundits on TV calling it from their microphones,
Yes.
and then activists being paid for by who the hell knows, Soros and the rest of them, going out, trashing dealerships, burning down charging stations that are for all cars, and then keying and slashing tires on American individuals who spent 60, 80, 150, 200 grand on a Tesla. This is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. They should be called domestic terrorists. We need to throw away the key. The guy from Vegas that actually torched the dealership got busted this week. Some rich, snotty white woman liberal got busted for keying one. And some dude on the East Coast, either in New Hampshire or New Jersey, whatever. He was at a fancy, swaggy resort, and he keyed one, and the cops confront him. We got the video. I don't know. I didn't do it. So they're busting these people. But can you imagine, George and Riley, for the last how many years the left told us we had to buy these cars because us righties that like good old gas stuff like me, loud sound and horsepower, I'm killing the environment. Go get a Tesla. Now, don't get a Tesla because Elon has it, and let's blow them up.
Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Of all the people you mentioned, I was hoping you would have found the dude who was digging deep into his rear end and smearing it.
I saw that guy too, trying to rub his...
Turns out Teslas have cameras on them. So yeah, right. Okay. Thanks for self-incriminating.
I was literally looking forward to you saying we got that one too. But look, of all the shitty things I've seen done to Tesla, that was definitely the
Nice
shittiest
pun.
of all.
Nice pun.
But I will say this.
Sorry. Go ahead, George.
I will say this to you. From the crew who told us to buy Teslas to save the environment, now they're burning Teslas. Let me tell you a little fun fact. Fun fact, burning an EV battery throws in millions and millions of carcinogen particles into the atmosphere that will convert into PFAS. PFAS, forever chemicals. Guess where they end up? In our drinking water. So congratulations, you're stupid in two forms.
Wow. Yeah. Go burn a Hummer like you used to. Remember the Greenpeace? You're too young. You might be too young, George. So the Greenpeace wackos in 2000 when W was battling Gore, right? Okay. And Gore was telling all of us in 1999 into the 2000 election, I remember it very well, that if we didn't do this, do that, whatever, parts of New York and Cali and Florida would be underwater by the year 2020. Yeah, that was 5 years ago, Al. Anyway, there was a bunch of these environmentalists
back then. The exact same thing.
No, she said 12 years.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But back then, the big push with the green wackos, like the green wackos today, they were going around and trashing GMC dealerships that were selling Hummers.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. They were slashing the tires, blowing them up, burning them.
What?
Oh, yeah. You don't
really? No.
Again, 25 years ago, you were
3, 2.
Okay, yeah. Great. Anyway, I'll have this conversation with George. No, George isn't that much older. What are you, George? 35, 36?
I'm 36. I'm going to be 37. But I remember this. I was 11 years old. I do. I always paid attention to the news. True story. The reason I got into politics was because I was the weirdo at school who knew who my state senator was in like 5th grade. So yeah, always liked politics. So I would go home to watch news with my mom and dad. So yeah, I'm odd.
No, you're not. I watched news as a little kid with my grandma, Walter Cronkite. Who'd you watch?
Tucker Carlson, Rush Limbaugh. I mean, the list, well, I guess I just listened to him, but the list goes on and on.
Different generations. I love it.
Absolutely.
Larry King. Big Larry King fan.
You're a Larry King guy.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Big Larry King guy, yeah.
The way it is, the way it was, the way it shall be.
And that forehead forwarding look.
All right. So since we have a former member of Congress and he worked with her, even though she was on the other side of the aisle, I doubt he worked with her. He had to work with her in Congress.
No.
I doubt he ever reached across the aisle and worked with this crazy ass. Anyway, you know who I'm going to bring up, Georgie. So
can I introduce her?
Oh, you know what? Go ahead.
You know what? The honorable lady, Jasmine Ghetto Stiletto Crockett from the great state of Texas.
Ghetto Stiletto.
That's a good one, George. I like that.
Write that.
That's me and a friend coined that term. It's Jasmine Ghetto Stiletto Crockett. Look, we're freshmen together, and her behavior is not new. Like, people are paying attention to her now. We were paying attention to her in 2023. I actually was in the same caucus as her, the Sneaker Caucus, chaired by Jared Moskowitz and Lori Chavez, who is now the Labor Secretary. And she was definitely a very colorful individual. But I will say this, there's two Jasmines. There's the Jasmine behind the cameras who's proper and posh.
Yep.
Very proper and posh.
That's what I want to get to.
And then there's neck flipping, whatever it is she's doing there, Jasmine, performative Jasmine, which is like, wait, what? So yeah, I don't get it. She's dangerous. She lacks the temperament. She lacks she doesn't acquiesce to understanding her position, and is that she is the United States Congresswoman, not the runner-up for America's Got Talent. And she needs to understand that she serves the American people, and doing what she's doing, her performance and inciting violence and essentially assaulting journalists is unbecoming of a member of Congress.
Yeah, Riley, why don't you give us a rundown of, let's call it, her greatest hits? Like, let's say she's an actress that has one of those IMDb pages that all the actors have that shows their accolades. Yeah. Okay, give her accolades on IMDb right now, just in the last 2-3 weeks, because I agree with him. I saw a clip from, 6 years ago when she first got in, or 4 years, however, when did you get in, George? 6 ago?
2022.
Okay.
22.
Okay, so all the clips, she is very, as you said, polished, posh, pristine,
like she's done media
eloquently, nice. And all of a sudden,
she went to prep school.
Thank you. And all of a sudden, in the last year or two, I'm like, girl, what the hell's going on with you? So George alluded to a few of the things, but you're the journalist. Rack down here what she did over the last week or so between Abbott and the reporter and everything else. Fill them in.
Well, I think that's the big thing, is going after Texas Governor Greg Abbott. She was at some human rights event in Los Angeles, and to call Governor Abbott Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
Yeah, that was...
She said she didn't say it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, she was like, I was talking about migrants being deported or something, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this guy literally is paralyzed from the waist down because he got hit by a tree when he was 26 years old. One of the most tragic things I could possibly think of. Yeah. Disgusting. So even for someone like Jasmine Crockett, it's just so unbecoming. I think you said that, George, and I completely agree. It's, what kind of example are you setting for the country with that kind of nasty personal attack? I know politics gets heated, and sometimes people like to, get those gotcha moments, and they're looking for reels and stuff that's clippable online, but this was just on a human level. Disgusting.
Who touches and grabs a reporter, though? Tell them about the reporter incident. They didn't see it on our talk shows.
The reporter incident.
You didn't see that one?
No.
Oh, George did.
No.
Okay.
So it was nuts.
Our friend Laura Loomer, everybody knows Laura Loomer out there, right? Big Trump supporter.
Yes.
So this is her reporter colleague for her podcast, Loomer Unleashed, and forgive me, I forgot the gentleman's name. He's walking down the hall. It might have been the Brady building, one of the buildings, and she's walking with Burchett and some other members and her staffers, and the staffers are doing their best to block the reporter, and he's asking questions about the Hot Wheels comment.
Yeah.
To be like, do you want to make an apology? Do you regret saying Hot Wheels about a man in a wheelchair? And she literally does her little smile BS, flips the hair, and then he keeps badgering her for the question. Again, sorry, you're a public figure. George, you're used to it. You're going to get badgered.
Yep. And
you're walking down the hallway of our house we pay for. We pay your salary, Jasmine. And she reaches out and grabs it and twists. And she said, grabbed his hands, sunk her fake-ass 5-inch nails into his hand. And, because he's filming.
Yeah.
And you see it. She's like, and it goes down. Oh, yeah. A member of Congress.
That is crazy.
Now, again,
that is crazy.
I'm not going to scream, that's assault, brother, but it is. Because when you're
It is assault.
It is. No, I know it is. You know me, I'm old school.
100%.
I'm old school. I probably wouldn't bitch about it, but it is because, and this happened to me and a camera guy 27 years ago in Grand Rapids. And when a journalist is in the field on the clock working, the camera, the microphone is an extension of their person. If you touch that equipment when I'm holding it, Dan Ball, the journalist, yes, I can sue you for assault and damage. And so, Jasmine, you done screwed up, girl.
Yep. Hire an attorney.
Well, let me add this. Well, she doesn't have to because she has the benefit of House counsel. So we will fund that for her, which is annoying. Jesus. But you can civilly litigate it. But here's the reality for what happened there. I believe the gentleman's name's Daniel. Not only does she do that, I can tell you that is a great example of her lacking the temperament to stay in that position, in which I am astonished that no real movement has done. A censure is not enough. She needs to be investigated by ethics. That's the reality.
Where's Mike?
She has no temperament.
She needs to be primaried and voted out of office.
Let's call Mike and ask him why he's not censoring her ass. Can we text Mike or call him and say?
And I'll say this.
Get to work, Mike Johnson.
I'll say this last thing on this subject because I don't want to keep giving her air.
That's
but
true.
Very important. very important to know about Jasmine Crockett is that she is then now, after that incident, using Republican lawmakers to shield herself from a scrutiny and attack. She introduced a joint resolution. She introduced a joint resolution with Chuck Edwards from North Carolina in order to show bipartisanship. Then she went and did the whole charade. Thank you so much, Congressman Burchett, when you protected me from my space being encroached. I called Tim Burchett. That's not how that went down, by the way.
Because he was standing there. Yes. I know Republicans were giving Tim crap for walking with her and saying, why didn't Tim do something and speak up? Tim was actually just walking because they were coming out of a meeting and going somewhere else to the same meeting or whatever. And he thought it was funny that the guy was badgering her, so he just kind of hung out to hear it. Our side is going, Tim, you didn't do enough. Why didn't you step in and rip her ass for it? Happened quickly. Anyway, I'm not going to. I agree with you, George. No more oxygen. Let's just move on to the last subject of the night because it's a perfect transition from the actress that is Jasmine Felicia Crockett. I believe that's her real middle name. Is that right?
Are you serious?
No, I think.
I don't know that. Is that?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, please,
anyway,
please.
Look it up in the back.
If that's her real middle name, I have so many ideas.
Bye-bye, Felicia. Anyway, I think we've established she's an actress. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go look at old videos and then look at new videos. This isn't a racist thing. This is nothing. This is
absolutely not.
This is point blank common sense. She's acting. She's trying to gaslight the black community by acting like, anyway, I'm done with her. But let's talk actors because the big
I'm more hood than Jasmine Crockett. That's the reality.
Put that on a t-shirt, George. I like that.
Well, so speaking of actors and actresses, and we'll end with this because lots of families, just like when I grew up and with my daughter now, love Disney movies, love taking the kid to Disneyland, Disney World. I went as a kid, blah, 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 right? So the new Snow White's out. It's a flop. Why wouldn't it be? It's woke as hell. And the main actress gal, we can put a pic of her up. Let me get it right because I don't care anymore to pay attention. Rachel Ziegler. That's her name. I like to dox people and throw them under the bus when they deserve it. This actress is having a meltdown hissy fit all over social media because the movie sucks. People are bitching about her and how woke she is and how woke Disney's going. And it's like, is Disney and these entertainment companies and these actors and actresses, these overpaid, spoiled babies, self-entitled that think they're worth more than they are, we learned during COVID, you're not essential, Hollywood.
The world keeps going without you.
Right?
Right, yeah.
I just want you guys' take, and Riley, you take it from here on what you think, because you're probably more of a Disney kid than me because there was no Disney television when I was coming up.
Yeah.
But now there's Disney everywhere.
That's right.
Right? When I was born, we had a Disneyland. Disney World wasn't even open yet in the 70s in Florida.
That's right.
So what it has become since what it used to be and Walt's vision, I'm just disgusted by it all.
Yes.
But I want different generation take and also different cultural take with George. And you're a New Yorker, I'm a Midwesterner. So what do you think of this progression? Because that's what it is, right? It's progress. This wokeness that's affecting and afflicting Disney. And then these actresses and actresses that come out and get all pissed off because the American public don't want to hear and listen and watch their garbage.
It's actually kind of like PBS, actually. They took a prized American institution and they infected it with wokeness. It's like a tumor that is spreading throughout every single vestige of the organization. But here's what I don't understand, because Disney's been losing a lot of money lately. I mean, the last 3 to 5 years, it's really sad.
Oh, yeah.
They keep doubling down, and it's weird because Disney, they make movies and they make TV shows and they own ESPN or a part of it, sure. But it's also a business. So you're looking at hemorrhaging dollars. You're looking at box office flops, one after another, and they keep going for more. And it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you killing your own organization? I do not understand it. But for the wokeness stuff, too, it's just very sad because it used to be so wholesome. I grew up on Disney movies. I grew up on Disney shows. You could look up to it. You could trust it. You could show it to your kids. You could play it in front of your friends. It was good, wholesome, family-oriented content. Now it's just sick and depraved and woke, and I don't understand why they're ruining this classic, quintessential American institution. But I have a feeling Walt Disney would be beside himself, truly disgusted with what they've done to his life's work.
I agree with you 100%. I have one word as I give it to George for his feedback. Grooming. George, why do you think they don't care about how woke they're going?
I'll tell you this. I think Disney has a disconnect with its crew, with its blue collar workers, as highlighted by Mark Platt's son, John Platt, on an Instagram clapback of like, if it was monumental and generational proportion of like F you to Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler is costing Disney hundreds of millions of dollars because she violated her employment contract, which was get paid millions of dollars to play a role that she is not even qualified to, because last I checked, it is Snow White, and I'm going to leave it there. But if we're talking,
a gay brown man can say that, and nobody will cancel him.
It's the reality. It makes no sense, and it also shadows the hundreds of people who worked on this production, from camera crews to set production people to all the stage and crafts and costume. These are blue collar people making, $60,000 to $80,000 a year jobs, paying their kids college and fighting for the American dream. And one spoiled 23-year-old brat who made $2 million for a role she did not qualify for goes ahead and blows it all up because she's entitled. I think that this is a great opportunity for Disney to recalibrate itself and purge the wokeness out of the organization. I'm in federal court against Disney, which is kind of ironic because of Jimmy Kimmel. But this is another example. Stop hiring people like Kimmel and Zegler. They're destroying Disney.
Yes.
I didn't know we were going to bring up Kimmel, but I got some funny shit to talk about that guy. But anyway, I want to clarify what George was talking about with that tweet at the beginning, because if people aren't following entertainment news, they'll have no clue what we're talking about. So the gentleman that tweeted that, ripping Rachel Zegler, is the producer of Snow White's son. Yes. And in the tweet, he literally said, "Stop it, shut your mouth, you're ruining my father's film." Like, my dad wanted to remake Snow White into a new, beautiful, 2025 version compared to what we were all used to decades ago as kids, and you're literally ruining it. Stop posting anti-Trump stuff, shut your damn mouth, be an actress, and go promote the film that you got paid. Think about what these people get paid for, okay? We don't get paid millions of dollars to do these podcasts or talk shows. There are some out there at Fox and CNN and elsewhere do get paid millions of dollars, and good on them. But we don't get paid
or the ones getting funded by the Kremlin.
Thank you. Or the ones getting funded by USAID, Politico. But no more. Thank God. Thank you, Doge. Thank you, Trump. But think about this. I don't know what her salary was. You said it was $2-3 million. You're getting paid to act. That's your job. Act. So after you're off the set, shut up and continue to act like the actress that was hired, and now promote the role that you were paid to act in. Instead, she's on there crying. She's still putting anti-Trump posts out. I mean, just trying to...
She attacked one of her fellow co-stars, Gal Gadot, who's an Israeli actress.
Well, and
she should have been Snow White, by the way. Gal Gadot, shout out to her.
Well, look,
who should have been?
Gal Gadot should have been the Snow White. First of all,
yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Gorgeous,
she's tall, though, to be
beautiful.
She is gorgeous. And the accent?
Who cares? She was Wonder Woman. She can be whoever she wants.
That's true. I mean, I want her to put the lasso on me. I'll tell the truth. I'll tell the truth, Gal Gadot. Your thoughts, Riley, on that?
No, well, you bring up a good point, George, and I'm not in marketing or anything, but how about this, a little piece of advice for her? Although I'm not trying to help her career, don't bash the original plot of the movie you're remaking in the weeks leading up to its release. Don't bash the plot, the character, the whole true love aspect. She's trying to make this, character into a social justice warrior, femme boss kind of thing, girl boss type. And it's like, you have a great franchise here. It's beloved by the whole world, almost universally by generations of people. Just remake it. The assignment's very simple. Stop trash talking your own project, and then when nobody shows up at the box office on opening weekend, you get all upset, and then you post videos online of yourself crying about it and tearing up about it, and it's like, who are you appealing to? What are you doing for the franchise? I do not understand.
Oh, I will
George,
say this,
when you got kicked out of Congress, did you cry like her?
I did not. I literally said to hell with this place, got in my gas-guzzling Jaguar and left. But I will say this. I will say this. The only thing that has a lower approval rating than Democrats in the United States today is the IMDb score of 1.6 stars of Snow White, thanks to Rachel Zegler. And remember, guys, this was Walt Disney's original princess, the first princess movie ever made.
That's a good point.
That's right, because you had
it's a disaster.
Rapunzel, you had all the other ones, but Snow White was the first princess of all the different ones.
Wow.
Cinderella and everything else.
Yeah.
That's a great point. It's the original, and you effed it
I'm a
up,
Disney
Rachel.
buff.
Good job, Rachel.
I'm a Disney buff.
George, we got to pay the bills, do a little sponsorship ad, and promote our shows, but we want to thank you so much for coming on and promote your
Thank you.
podcast. Where do they find Pants on Fire?
Every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, new episodes drop of Pants on Fire with George Santos and my awesome co-host, Naja Hall. Make sure you follow us on socials, X, Instagram, everywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. We are everywhere. Thank you so much for letting me come on, Dan. It was a pleasure to be with you guys.
Always fun, and you better watch out. Naja's showing you up there. I've watched a couple of the episodes. You better step up your game, bro. You better step up your game.
She's tough.
Thanks, George.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
Yep. See you, bud. So, Riley, what are you doing for the weekend? Any plans? We got about a minute left here.
Lots
Let's
of beach
shake 'em.
time. Beach days. It's getting warm again.
And you're going to grab the guitar.
And the dog. Well,
Only
guitar
one day.
first.
Then you come over, get the dog, and go back.
Okay.
And then we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
And hopefully in the next coming episodes, because I do plan on bringing my wife
We also
on.
need to talk to James, though, O'Keefe, about how I film this, how I
Oh, yes,
I need
yes.
a body camera or a camera. I need to do something.
I was getting to the point, though, that I want to have my wife on someday because people want to keep, they want to talk to her because everybody wants to talk to the wife more than me. Great, good. And so if we hook you up and then and we get a lady in Riley's life, we got an empty seat right here. She can fit. She can fit. Folks, thanks so much for watching the Anchorman podcast. Don't forget, this is the lineup, okay? So 6 p.m. Eastern, you check out The Real Story with Riley Lewis. Then we got a news hour break at 7. 8 o'clock Eastern, you check out Real America with Dan Ball. 9 o'clock, you watch the Matt Gaetz Show. And then rounding it all out, because there's a bunch of guys yakking, the best female in the lineup, Chanel Rion, is on with Fine Point at 10 p.m. after. So we have an amazing lineup in our prime time now for talk shows. And so I guess maybe that needs to maybe change to the anchor, men, and a woman, because Chanel, we'll get Chanel on the show as well, the podcast, and yak with her. So check out all the primetime lineup. Keep watching these episodes. We're dropping new ones now every Thursday and Friday. I believe it's 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's when the podcast, The Anchormen, drop all across all platforms. We thank you so much for watching. Sign up for One America News. Go to the homepage, OANN.com, and subscribe. If you have Sling or you have Dish Network, you can now once again view One America News. We're coming back, and we're coming back bigger and better. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Riley.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Appreciate you, brother.
Want to see more great videos like this? Click on the link below to subscribe to OAN Live and watch Dan Ball's Real America and The Matt Gaetz Show on Dish Channel 212. Tune in, subscribe, and watch today.